Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Welcome back.
So, guys, we are going to talk about some beings, very benevolent, and you may not be aware of it, but they may be working on you during the night on a regular basis.
And they do that. They do work on people. They don't even know it. And these are master geneticists, and they are master healers.
And so, who are we talking about? These beings that are the DNA experts, the experts of the Lightbody, the experts of the Merkaba. Well, they're the Arcturians.
Yes, and I really get this huge, warm, fuzzy feeling in my chest and stuff when we talk about them.
And, and the build up to the December 21st convergence, grand conjunction, 3 nights in a row, they were working on our DNA and our light bodies.
They are, and they do, and they're healers. They like to heal the DNA. They like to heal the ancestral DNA, and that's what they do. They work on the light body.
So when you look up in the sky, you see the Big Dipper. Looking off to the left of it, you'll see the bright orangish red star of Arcturus. Now, I asked Cindy, I said, do they come from anywhere else, or are they anywhere else, or is that the only area that they're from?
No, there's more areas. There's 4 different areas that I couldn't pronounce. If I tried, it would be impossible. But they do similar work in these other areas.
Yeah, very, very benevolent beings. When they work on us, generally, like Cindy said, there's a warm, fuzzy feeling. I could see energy swirl around me, and I know that they're working on us. And then often there's an angel that is under Gabriel and comes and works on us as well. He checks our energy and sees how we're progressing.
Yeah, he tests it. It's what he likes to do. He gets to do that. He likes to kind of move up and down through dimensions where he's at. He has a lot of freedom.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, I mean, this is part of what we want to get across to people that just don't understand things. These beings are very, very, very benevolent. And, they're not what you would call demonic. They're not fallen angels. Really, those descriptions don't apply to many different ET interdimensional species. And to lump them all in one category is really just be very, very ignorant. It's not understanding. These guys are so benevolent, and they are helping us in the ascension process tremendously. And they're working, in many cases, along with Pleiadians, but also along with the angelic realm, like we talked about, and also with the Devic realm, and like the Devas, or the gods with an S, so to speak. And we're talking about beings like Ganesh and Lakshmi, but also like Isis and other traditions as well.
And I get sad when people say, oh, well, if it's not human, it's just a demon. It makes me sad because they're robbing somebody else of a very wonderful, what could be a wonderful experience to connect with another being.
Yeah, their consciousness, just like we are. And so they're a very high density too. Now, where would you say they are primarily? What densities do they work in?
I'm feeling them work between 6 and 8, but they come down here, not physically, but dimensionally. They can work on our bodies here. So they work throughout the dimensions, but I do see them physically, like between 6 and 8.
Yeah, so they're residing between the 6th and the 8th dimension. Now with, just for instance, like you had said about the angels, the angel that visits us is under Gabriel, and I know I've gotten from more than one person, as well as that inner feeling that I've had a connection with Gabriel for multiple lifetimes.
Right, you have multiple lifetimes, and this is just another lifetime and another opportunity for you to expand your consciousness and work through your human body to raise other people's awareness and consciousness.
So these beings are doing wonderful acts for humanity, as are the angels and the archangels. They're not enemies, not at all. They're on the same team as are other beings, like we had talked about, like Ganesha and Hanuman and Lakshmi and so many others, and not just from the Vedic tradition, other traditions as well. White Buffalo Calf Woman is one of your guides.
Yeah, she is one of my guides. And what's beautiful about guides is they work together so much so that if one guide doesn't have certain resources, they will pass it off to a guide that does. And they don't get angry or get miffed at each other. They just get the job done to help you.
Which is a beautiful thing. Cooperation between different species, different beings, different consciousnesses, and even on different densities. Like with the devas that we're talking about, for instance, where do you see them residing primarily? If we're talking about Ganesha, for instance.
Mm-hmm. I see them residing generally high 5th, 6th density.
Right. So you see these Arcturians are able to appear probably physical to the devas, and the devas physical to the Arcturians. Yet they're both significantly up from where we are right now. But we do have the potential to jump up to the 5th density.
Oh, absolutely. We can jump up to the 5th density, and it's an opportunity, and it's something that we get to do. We get to work on our light bodies. We get to work on ourselves so that we can reach these places. We're in a wonderful place with many opportunities right now.
And many beings don't have to come back in, but to come back into this plane of existence, but are choosing to do so in order to help other beings rise up and go into the higher densities.
Right. That there's a lot of beings that are doing that are up there quite high, and they are coming down here, all the way down here, to kind of like group people or loop people up and then pull them back up with them.
So Laurel and Kira, who are the two Pleiadian contacts that we have, Laurel most of the time, Kira a couple times comes through because her energy is a little intense for Cindy to handle. But now, what density do you see them on?
I see them running on 4-5.
More 4th and 5th density.
Yep, I do.
Yeah. So you could say, here again, the Arcturians are operating on a higher plane of existence and very beneficial, helping us with our Merkabas, with our light bodies. And when the light body is fully developed, then what do you see?
Well, you get to see this thing here, which is what I've seen inside of you and outside of you too. And it's something that takes quite a while to develop. It takes quite a while to kind of spark that ignition. It's a very intense, not experience, but it's a very intense thing that we get to do here on Earth, is work with our Merkabas to travel almost anywhere we want.
Yeah, and when our Merkaba is fully activated, then we will be able to go, anywhere instantaneously just by thinking.
Right, we can do that, and it's kind of a lengthy process. It's not something that happens overnight. I do believe we can have an active Merkaba and not really have control of it, which is really scary. But a lot of these things we haven't been educated about them, and people aren't even open to learning because they don't even know it's there.
And this is something that's been hidden in the Western mystery tradition because, just speaking of it would be something that could probably get you killed in the Middle Ages, going back to earlier Christianity and all, and the influence of the church. Mm-hmm. It's all about locking down this information about who we really are. Mm-hmm. Much, much simpler to just make everything turn into angels and demons than to let people understand that they are multidimensional and they have tremendous ability and power. They could rise up and be in the angelic realms. Mm-hmm. It's up to us. It
is up to us, and it's an opportunity. It's a great time to be alive because a lot of this information is finally coming out.
It is a beautiful thing. And so the Arcturians do work with the Pleiadians as well as the angelic realm, and helping to assist human evolution, because evolution does happen. It might not be Darwinian evolution that we're talking about, but things evolve, things change, things progress. Nothing stays static.
Right. They want to see us, rise up. They want to see us be free. They want to see us use our souls to explore.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that's a beautiful thing. Now, when our Merkaba is fully activated, we're no longer under the influence of these beings who primarily reside in 4D and lower fifth density. And those are the powers that be really here on this planet, also using 3D, 4D humans. But they control us, and they control us mostly from fourth density or lower fifth density.
Yes, they do. And, that sometimes they're not super nice about it.
No, but see, this is the potential that's in us.
Yeah.
And there's yogis that have developed this, and they're gone. We've talked about the Tibetan rainbow body as well, and tens of thousands of Buddhist monks have achieved that. And they've ascended up and outside of the reach of any of these dark forces, way beyond anything demonic, way beyond anything draconian.
And that's something that we can do too.
You could do it in this lifetime.
Yep.
You could. It takes intense work, intense desire, regular practice. You cannot be slack in most cases unless you have already achieved it. And so that's where past life work comes in.
That's very important to know. And a lot of times, we don't know what's going on with ourselves because we've chosen to forget certain things to get other things accomplished.
When I met my Reiki guide and addressed him, he addressed me back as basically a teacher. And it was interesting because my first Reiki teacher, when she was attuning me, and she was very intuitive, she kind of was in a little bit of a meditative state, and then she was like, "Oh, you're just remembering. You've done all this before."
Yeah, that's happened to many of us. And when we feel ourselves being drawn to something or drawn to an interest, whether it be artwork, whether it be occult, ancient literature, stuff like that, pay attention to that because that is past life information sparking its desire to be reignited and remembered in you.
Yes, and these beings help with all that. And they are definitely helping the ascension process. And there's beings out there right now that are slowing down the sun's ascension process because the sun is the lead for this solar system, so that more beings will be able to make it in time and make the ascension. And the earth itself is trying to help us along with that.
Yes, she is. So it's really important that we, mesh with the earth as much as possible. Grounding is very important because we work like magnets, the earth and us, because we strengthen each other.
I like this picture when you look into the lower left and you see everybody walking around with a star within them. Well, that's the reality. That is the reality. For ultimately, we have our core star that is the essence of our being. When we look up at the sun, that's what we see, is that star-like light. But yet on another level, in another reality, the sun is going through a life in a relative physical body, going through all the experiences and all the emotions as well.
Right. And the sun is life. The sun is plasma. We're made of plasma. The sun is very important to our very existence, and they've tried to make us fear the sun.
Exactly. This is the as above, so below. And each one of you, as it is written, ye are gods. Ye are gods. And that's an Old Testament quote that Christ then quoted himself. And it doesn't mean necessarily, although it does, that God has us. And God is in us. And yet we are gods ourselves in the sense that every one of us is a walking universe. And there are so many cells in the body, but there's 10 times the number of cells in your microbiome, which are other entities that are not you, but they're living in your body.
Right. It's the as above, so below paradigm all over the place.
So to them, you are the light of the world.
Absolutely. And it's very important that you recognize that you are a light for another being, because it kind of makes you want to take good care of yourself.
Most definitely. So my friends, let your light shine, and may your souls be lifted up.
And take very good care of yourself. People are beings are depending on you.
Most definitely. As always, thanks for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. We couldn't do it without you. Make sure you're subscribed and have the bell clicked. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.